what the hell is wrong with us Europeans? I mean, what the hell is wrong with Europeans? I honestly don't get this. Because why are Europeans so obsessed with America? Why are we so gung-ho with the US? I mean, all the frigging time. American politics, American music, American this, American that, American whatever. Why? Can somebody just explain this to me? Why? Because I don't get it. To give you an example, every time I walk into my local supermarket around here, I walk in and I walk through the front door, and then I hear the radio and I am instantly annoyed. I am instantly annoyed because this supermarket decides to put local radio on, and local radio plays American music all the frigging time, non-stop, 24 hours. It's American yodeling, crying music, whatever, I don't know, made by ChatGPT. Sounds like it because it all sounds exactly the same, formulaic, exactly identical to everything else. There's no originality in there. It's just noise. It's just noise. And this is American culture. This is America itself. It's all just so incredibly horrible, disgusting. I mean, it annoys me. And then I don't understand. I don't understand why Europeans are so happy with this shit. I mean, honestly, in Europe, we actually make some pretty good stuff ourselves. We make some pretty good stuff ourselves when it comes to music, when it comes to art. You can't beat Europeans in that. You honestly can't. You cannot. But for some reason, whenever you walk into a shop or whatever, it's Taylor Swift yodeling on the radio or some shit like that. And I'm sick of it. And in politics, you see exactly the same shit. Exactly the same shit. Because don't forget that for some reason, Europeans don't defend themselves. They don't fight for their own country. They don't fight for their own continent. They don't fight for their own people. They don't fight for their own family. They don't fight for anything because we all outsource this to the US. We just trust that the US will fight for us against Russia, because there was Russia, of course. We just trust that they will fight for us and we won't actually have to do anything, which is why there are still about 100,000 American soldiers on European soil right now. Most of these in Germany, Italy and Poland, by the way. But they're all over the place. They're all over the place. These US Yankee soldiers, they're all over Europe, all over the place. And you know what? Nobody seems to give a damn. And I don't understand that at all. I do not understand that. Why have we become so weak that we cannot fight for ourselves anymore? Why have we become so dependent on the US that we can't fight for ourselves anymore? That we don't even want to fight for ourselves anymore? And see where this has led us. Now we actually have a enemy next door, and we can't defend ourselves. We can't fight for ourselves because we don't have an army anymore. We don't have any weapons anymore. We don't have anything anymore. We don't have soldiers anymore. We don't, to make it worse, we don't even have the desire to go out and fight for our country anymore. We don't, as Europeans, because Europeans have been made weak. They've been made effeminate. They've been made little prancing little soy boys. And I find this disgusting. I find this horrible. I mean, what the actual hell, man? What the actual hell? I mean, honestly, Europeans, we used to go out on rickety little boats across the world and sail across the world and just conquer everything we see, you know. I'm not saying that that was a good thing, but wasn't that, you know. But at least we did it. At least we did it. Our ancestors, they risked their lives. They fought wars. And I'm not saying that, you know, fighting wars is such a fantastic idea. But you know what? Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you just have to. And you know, you think that these little pricks, these European boys and girls, they're going to go out and fight in Ukraine? Oh, good luck with that, eh? Good luck with that. It's not going to happen. Because people have been made weak. They've been made weak because everything is convenience. Everything is convenience and money, and nothing else matters. You know what? This is the problem. This is the problem. I am sick of America. I am so sick of America. I find it nauseating. I find that country nauseating. And I know there are lots of people in America as well who are sick of the culture that's dominating America right now. I know there are lots of people who are sick of the system as well, just like Europeans are, just like I am. I know. I mean, when I see right here in our village, they put trans flags on because apparently it's LGBTQ Pride Week or fuck all, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's like a sick cult which basically believes in sacrificing children, maiming children, cutting off completely healthy body parts, which, by the way, cannot grow back and will not make you a girl. It won't. It will just maim you. It will create a gigantic hole in your body, which will never, ever, 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 ever heal again. By the way, which means that you'll have to be on drugs for the rest of your lives. But I don't tell you that. And instead of saying that this is a really bad idea, this is a really, really bad idea. No. These fuckers, they put flags on top and say, we need to celebrate this. We need to celebrate this. We need to celebrate this because there's diversity. What, diversity of insanity? That's this shit. I mean, fuck that. And you know what? That shit started in the US. And got imported to Europe. Because don't forget that not so long ago, that crap was completely illegal in Europe. It wasn't allowed in Europe. Moreover, European society did not stand for LGBTQ. It doesn't exist. Because our ancestors were not insane. That's why. Don't forget that even during the Second World War, Turing, the inventor of basically computers and shit like that, the guy who cracked the Enigma machine, he was sent to jail for being gay. Because not that long ago, that shit was not allowed in Europe. And no, I'm not saying that you should be sent to jail for that shit. But this is the other extreme, where apparently something that's completely private, because that's what it is, a sexual proclivity, a sexual preference is a private thing. This is private. But for some reason, this is now smeared out all over society. You see bloody rainbows everywhere. They paint rainbow zebra crossings. They put flags everywhere. And you're not allowed to disagree with that. You're not allowed to say, oh, this is private. I don't want to see this in public, because just like I don't want to see a boy and a girl kissing in public, because that's also private. But this is worse, because here you actually have people, grown men, walking around naked in gay pride parades in public, and that's apparently okay. So this is why I'm against this shit. Because I believe that people should be free to basically do things in their own, whatever the fuck they want, as long as it doesn't bother me over much. As long as it doesn't bother other people over much. As long as it stays within sanity, within normal boundaries of common sense. But this doesn't, because you are constantly confronted with this degenerate shit. And it is degenerate shit. And this is the same mentality that has taken over in Europe. You see this shit everywhere. And this is the problem with Europe. So I honestly ask you, what the fuck is wrong with Europeans? Why the hell does everybody just get in line with this shit? Why the hell do we follow the Americans with whatever shit they do? Why the hell do we think that being a degenerate and walking around naked in the middle of the street is suddenly okay? Why do we think that cutting off healthy body parts of children is something that should be celebrated? Why don't we think it's a problem that Europeans don't and can't fight for anyone, not for their families, not for themselves, not for their country, nothing. Because there have been polls, there have been polls. Of course there are polls, there are always polls. There are polls about, would you fight for your country? Would you fight for your country? And you know what? All over the world, Africa, Asia, and so on, people would fight for their country. There are countries where 90% will fight for their country if it's invaded. In Europe, however, it's less than half. It's like nobody. It's like a minority. But of course, these polls, if they ask you, would you fight for your country? Many people who would otherwise fight for the country would actually say, no, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because those people wouldn't fight for their state, wouldn't fight for their government, but would fight for their country. If somebody invades their country, they would fight for it. But they're not going to go and die in Iraq or Iran or Ukraine or whatever, just because the Dutch government or the German government or the French government says so. No, but no. So lots of Europeans have already said that they're not going to fight for their government. And the ones that basically have Ukrainian flags in their bios and shit like that, you think those are going to fight? You think those are going to go to Ukraine to fight? Or are going to fight if the Russians invade or the Americans invade? Because don't forget, the Americans have already stated that they are perfectly willing to invade Europe should any American ever be brought in for war crimes in The Hague. You think people are going to fight? No, because European society is degenerated. It has degenerated. It has become weak. So I wonder what the hell is wrong with Europeans and how the hell we can fix this shit. And frankly, I think that we need to change this shit. We need to make Europe actually independent. We need to make Europe democratic. We need to make Europe strong again. We need to make Europe free and sane and whole and healthy and normal and independent. That's very important. So no American bullcrap anymore. No American bullcrap anymore. It needs to be Yankee go home. Yankee go home and stay there. And let Europe be for Europeans. And let Europeans fight for Europe.